So, before we go off into the next round, whenever that starts, we've got some highlights from that game that we want to bring up in case any of you guys missed it. So,
Yeah.
well, let's just jump straight into highlight 1, which is the opening hands for both players. Now, you actually predicted this play almost.
No, it was the other game.
Ah, right.
It was the other game. So, but this one we still get to see the Wavering Eyes play. So me and you were really excited about the last round to see this deck, and we got to see it.
Finally, it happened.
Yeah. So Long Dao actually he just made this play almost immediately. We were still trying to talk about the general matchup at this point, but he just went straight into doing this. So we were talking about this in the pre-recorded deck profiles that we have, about Wavering Eyes and the impact it has. And that hand that he had wasn't necessarily unplayable, but he made a really good hand absolutely fantastic by having Wavering Eyes.
Yeah, in actual fact, you can see from highlight 2 how we transitioned into that turn 1 towers, which the deck is supposed to do. And he's already got his
Lose one turn
up. So this actually isn't the very first turn.
No,
it's his second turn from the look of it.
Yeah.
And then he just sticks at towers. That's enough. His opponent takes a look at it and goes, Gillian, and he's like, no, I can't deal with that.
No, I cannot deal.
And that was quite shocking. I imagine quite a few players that really have studied their decks and understand what they're doing have picked up towers, looked at it and said, no.
There's nothing in here for that.
Next game, it's not like you would Regeki it and read the card then Regeki it. I mean, that would just be a really bad play. But
yeah,
people have obviously seen towers now and gone, yeah, okay, that's happened.
That's pretty strong.
Now, if we go to highlight number 3, we're in game 2, and this is the opening hand where you predicted.
This is the opening hand. Rob wasn't convinced when I was telling him, but apart from one single maneuver that he made, I just swapped around the monster he used as his red pendulum scale when he first opened this. But card for card, I knew exactly where he was going with this. I could see right from the start he had enough Qliphort monsters to be able to tribute for towers if you took into consideration the searches off scout, and he had Wavering Eyes, so he had another scout. Yeah, straight away I just thought to myself, we are here, we're seeing it happen.
Yeah, you see how fast from memory, you can definitely tell that Long Dao's taken a lot of time to memorize to place this deck, because he very quickly went through all his cards into the right places and then dropped the towers.
Well, the moment he saw his opening hand, he could just go, oh, this, oh yeah, okay, there they are, there it is, this is what I would search for this, and then just into that string of combos straight away. You can just, it's like
and we can see that in highlight number 4.
Yeah. So this is where he gets to the completing his pendulum scale after playing the Wavering Eyes and doing his searches. 1, 2, 3, straight from hand.
And here's one of the really powerful things about that. He's got a monolith, which is refilling his hand after he gets his towers. So that's 3 more cards coming back.
Yeah, I love the way that he just kind of like swiped up all of his monsters and just went, oh, I don't need these. I just need this one.
It's just sort of slides them off the table ever so casually.
Yeah.
And that is a very, very, very strong start for Long Dao. But then we get this rather unexpected turn in the highlight 5. So Monster Gate of Doom.
Yeah, so Monster Gate tributes one of your monsters, and then you look for a normal summon monster by revealing all the top cards of your deck over and over again until you find one. Because none of the Infernoid monsters can be normal summoned. You just keep going until you find one.
Yeah, and this does other things, like it puts the Infernoid Lance into the graveyard.
Yeah, the Void Seer.
Void Seer, sorry, not Infernoid Lance, that's just how I remember what it does.
Void Seer into the grave.
He has 2 in the graveyard, I believe, and he gets the Anuku, which we'll get to in a little bit. But this is a kind of like Christmas comes early for Infernoids when this happens.
Just kept going.
It's like the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, it kept giving. It kept giving about 17 cards.
In actual fact, this highlight is 30 seconds long. That's how long he was flipping cards before he hit that Lila in the end.
Yeah, and I think at that point he really didn't. Lila was happy to see him, but he didn't really care that Lila was there.
It's like, because it also gives him another shot at the pendulum scales, but
why not?
The thing is when you hit that kind of play in Infernoid, you expect to win.
Yeah.
Like, you've gone through all the deck, you have all the fuel ready to do whatever you want. So you're playing your graveyard almost similar to Dragon Rulers, where you can keep getting your monsters back.
Yeah.
Like, I imagine he was actually quite shocked to lose to that.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. I mean, we didn't even see the Anonku go to the graveyard, so we were still kind of like, oh, this doesn't matter. You know, he's got nothing. But you know, as we see in the next highlight, that he manages to get rid of the Qliphort towers.
Yep.
So after making some exceed plays, he banishes some of his Infernoid monsters and goes ahead and summons this card, which on summon it destroys all of the monsters on the field.
So a key thing there, Anuku, the level restriction and rank restriction, because both levels and ranks are considered, only applies to effect monsters. So these tokens actually don't prevent him from summoning it. But at the same time, those tokens are protecting the Drago sack. So this Anuku comes out, it matches towers star for star, and that catches Long Dao off guard, because he immediately taps it to say, my guy can't be destroyed. And he's like, yes, it can.
Oh, that's the same amount of stars on my card.
I'm going to... you see how reluctant he is to put that in the graveyard, even in slightly slow motion.
He even decides, I'm going to have another look at this card.
Are you sure? No, he's definitely sure.
Yeah.
I actually thought at that point he was mounting a comeback, Gillian.
Yeah.
And he had an opportunity to get back into this because Long Dao was a very, very small amount of life points.
Yeah,
and
he had 800 life points. That's not a lot.
he had another Anuku like on the horizon.
Yeah.
If he'd have got the next turn, that would have been it.
Yep.
But if we go to highlight 7, that's a sad truth about this. This isn't Christmas. This is Yu-Gi-Oh! And it just it doesn't always work out the way you want it to.
Yeah. So even though we saw a really powerful reasoning and monster gate from the Infernoid player here, Gillian, we see Long Dao manage to pendulum summon his way out of it.
Yep, and there you're seeing a lot of monster attacks in the handshake coming over.
Yeah.
Very commanding victory from what looked like a seesaw game, and it was over so fast.
Yeah, and the fun fact about that is that Wavering Eyes actually won him the game at that point as well, because it was that extra 500 damage which just tipped him over the edge.
Yeah, quite a few people overlooked that 500 and think it's irrelevant. Cannon Soldier does 500, and it's like, well, no, this is very different, and it gives Qliphort just that little tiny extra push which can allow it to make the win. And key thing there is he knew if he went for Qliphort Disc, he could get the attack bonus to give him that little bit of extra attack to get through. Yeah,
it was just enough to get enough life points down.
I was very impressed with that, and I'm hoping we see more of this Turbo Towers deck going through the WCQ this weekend.
Yeah.
I think the other players of that team are still doing extremely well.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's check back and see how they're getting on. Really high hopes. I'm happy we saw it go off and it wasn't.
Yeah, I actually spoke to Marcelo after the feature match, and he was really disappointed. He was like, "Oh, I feel like I let you down," and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's what I would have said. It's like we were there, we were waiting.
We were sat here and we were thinking,
get out of our studio.
Yeah, come on, where is it?
Well, I wouldn't be that mean to him. You know, sometimes your deck just doesn't work out. But yeah. Anyway, that was that, and we're going to be going over to a break before we start the final round for today, round 8.
Yep.
So we'll see you shortly.